attempt to achieve world order must be the work of the devil. Well, join me. I'm glad to sit here at the right hand of Satan.
There's a need for a new world order. Someday, in the next few years, a solution will emerge.
Kissinger on record said they would create a worldwide economic collapse to usher in world government. But first, they had to militarize the police and condition the public to accept secret arrest and martial law. We are now entering into the land of world government, run by psychopathic control freak tyrants. You can see the enemy standards all around us, the all-seeing eye, as their dark hordes march against us. If we rally, if the people stand up and resist, if we speak out and cry from the rooftops that the enemy is upon us, we can rise up and defeat the New World Order. If God be with us, who can stand against us? I ask you now, make the choice. Decide whether you're with the Republic and liberty and freedom, or if you are with the worldwide crime syndicate known as the New World Order. We are here live Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. You have reached the front lines of the info war. Man, Ron Paul agreed before he came on air. I was talking to him during the break when we first got him on about coming on for a full hour sometime early next year to go over his plan to defeat the Federal Reserve. He's introduced a bill for the last decade plus in Congress, and he's gotten close to 70 co-sponsors on that to remove the private Federal Reserve. Now, either we remove this group that has engineered the collapse we're seeing, or they are going to bring us into the next level of their tyranny. This doesn't sit there stagnant at one point. It either gets worse or we push back and things get better. They will give you no quarter. And I want to talk to the military and police. Don't you want to be with the Republic? Don't you want to be pro-Second Amendment? Don't you want to be part of the winning team, the good guys? Don't you want to be against secret arrest and torture? In your heart, in your soul, not just the evidence, but in your gut, you know this al-Qaeda business is fake and staged. You know real crises like the Texas, Mexico, Arizona, Nevada border with Mexico collapsing and thousands dead every year is the serious issue. You know the issue of taxation and regulation and control and face scanning cameras and cameras in school bathrooms and cameras inside the stalls at rest stops and all this surveillance going in. You know it's evil. You know, I mean, even the uniforms, the black ski mask, the armored vehicles, the microwave guns, the new heroes on television, torture children. I mean, they're twisting us. They're teaching us that evil is good. You know in your heart 50 million abortions since 1974 is evil. You know in your heart killing millions of Iraqis and 18 years of siege against that nation is evil. And you know it's going to blow back against you, and it is now. The elite will kill and enslave in Iraq and Afghanistan and Serbia and launch sneak attacks against Russia. The elite will stage all of these horrible events, and you think that you are immune from that? You think you're separate from that? You think they won't do similar things like that here? It is their ruthless, bloodthirsty, cunning instinct to do this. That's why they're in control. That's why they are in power. They believe in survival of the fittest, social Darwinism. They believe it's their right to rule over us, and they have destroyed our morals so that we're more easily controlled, so that we don't stick together, so that we're all isolated. We have to come together under a culture of liberty and freedom against the New World Order. Now, you just heard Congressman Ron Paul telling you this is a New World Order takeover, an engineered collapse. They are bringing us into world government. We must stop it now. It is in hundreds of newspapers. It is openly being announced that the military is going to be used against the American people for combat against the American people. The story is up on prisonplanet.com. Army Strategic Shock Report says troops may be needed to quell U.S. civil unrest. Known unknowns, unconventional strategic shock in defense strategy development states that it is a battle plan to make war against the American people, and they set this up decades ago. This did not just materialize. How long did I warn you? How long did I specifically tell you? How long did we lay out that they would first stage terror attacks, then get a police state in place, then have an economic collapse, knowing starving people and jobless people would riot, then that gives them the pretext to come in with total control, and that's how they would sell it. And now in their own Army reports and in their official directives, they are saying their job is to suppress the American people and to make sure that the criminals like Madoff, who has stolen, first they said $10 billion, then $50 billion. Now some reports are saying the exposure could be above $100 billion, ripping off police, fire department, teacher funds. There's a huge list of it. It's mainly pension funds of states, counties, and cities, upwards of 100, and every day it goes up by tens of billions. You know, he got arrested a few days ago. This broke last week. They said it was a few $100 million, then it was $1 billion, then it was $10 billion, now it's $50 billion. Now they're saying it could be over $100 billion. By the time they're done, I don't know, 300, 400, 500 billion. I mean, who knows? You know, they said it would be a $700 billion banker takeover bailout. Now it's 8.5 trillion, and that was 2 weeks ago. 2 Wednesdays ago, Bloomberg reported, the Congress reported, the San Francisco Chronicle reported that it was 8.5 trillion. We don't know now. It was $1.3 trillion on average a week being stolen in the first 6.5 weeks. We do not know what it is now. We have no idea. They're saying they're not even going to release basic numbers. Lawsuits have been filed. The Congress has demanded to see it, and they've been told you don't get to see anything. And Alan Greenspan, the former chairman of the private Fed, goes on Lair News Hour and says, we are above the law. No one can indict us. No one can touch us. Now, Madoff's in trouble because he ripped off a lot of powerful elites in the United States. CNBC reports that around half of the $100 billion was from prominent Jewish groups and Holocaust charities and other things, Steven Spielberg and others. And they're saying that maybe those groups might get some of the money back. Now, this is the former head of the NASDAQ, the second biggest stock exchange in the world. This is not some fly-by-night criminal, and it come out in the news today, in the Associated Press, CNBC. I have the articles right here in front of me. They're up on Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com, where they're going, oh, my God, this was completely sanctioned by the banks and brokerage firms. Of course it was. This is what they do. And then a bunch of Madoff's people and charities and cities said, okay, we want to go ahead and cash out of some of our money. Not even all of their investments, and he said, oh, it's not there. And then the investigation began. But it turns out that the Securities and Exchange Commission, a year ago, people weren't getting their money from Madoff, and people went to the Mr. Cox at the SEC, and he said, you know what? We're not going to investigate them. But Mark Cuban, and I couldn't talk about this at the time, in early 2007, but we were in discussions with Mark Cuban, Charlie Sheen, and his manager. I mean, there I was, literally at meetings at Charlie Sheen's house, discussing all this. But now it's public, and there I am with the biggest lawyer in Hollywood, and there we all are discussing this, and it was the fact that Cuban was being threatened. One of the other producers coming in was being threatened over all of this, over the fact that Mark Cuban was about to put out Loose Change Final Cut in movie theaters and on DVD nationwide and worldwide. And remember how I'm kind of hesitating here because I can talk about this now, but I'm trying to be careful about what I say or what I get into because it's so incredible. I mean, this is the type of stuff that I got to be very careful about what I say because it's been in the New York Times now, some of the basics. But one of the other producers' brother, it was an Air Force general. And when this wasn't even on the news yet, he calls up to the producer and says, if you care about your kids, you better not do that project, showing that the phone lines were clearly tapped. Then O'Reilly and others, CNN host, others, go on TV, not just Fox, and say, do not make this film, Charlie Sheen. Do not voice this. Do not be involved with this, or you will pay. And basically mafia-esque threatened him on the news. That part's public. And then Mark Cuban said that he had been threatened and that he wanted to put out controversial films, but that this was just a little too much and that he was pulling out.